The Deadliest Viking Massacres history classes
Lift it up!
never taught YouCaptain Ingrid Vahl stared out of the thick glass of the observation deck. Niflheim Prime stretched below her like a frozen ocean, white and blue ice fields shimmering under the faint light of a distant sun. The planet was quiet, almost too quiet, and its silence weighed heavily on her. She had traveled across several systems, faced storms of cosmic dust, and walked on planets no human had set foot on before. But something about this place made her uneasy. The ship's sensors had detected structures buried beneath the ice, old, massive, and clearly artificial. Ingrid's crew, a team of archaeologists, scientists, and engineers, had been sent to investigate. Their mission was simple: explore, record, and bring back knowledge of anything unusual. Yet Ingrid knew that simple in space often meant dangerous. "Captain," said Lieutenant Mara Rin, her second-in-command, as she approached, "the scanners are picking up something unusual. There's a metallic structure beneath the ice at least 3 kilometers long. Its composition, it's not human." Ingrid's eyes narrowed. "Not human? That's interesting. Could it be remnants of one of the old colonies, or maybe a derelict alien ship?" Mara shook her head. "It doesn't match anything in our databases. I've run it through every known material profile. Nothing comes close. It's ancient but advanced at the same time." Ingrid turned back to the viewport, her mind racing. Humanity had colonized hundreds of planets in the last century, but evidence of truly alien civilizations remained rare. And yet, here was something so massive, so deliberate in design, that it suggested intelligence and purpose. She took a deep breath. "Prepare the landing team. We go down at first light. I want a full survey before anyone touches anything." The landing site was a frozen valley, surrounded by jagged cliffs that gleamed like glass in the morning light. Ingrid's shuttle descended carefully, its engines whispering against the icy ground. The surface was slippery, uneven, and treacherous. As the ramp lowered, Ingrid felt the cold bite at her exposed skin despite the thermal suit. "Keep your eyes open," she reminded her team. "This could be anything: ancient ruins, a buried ship, or something we can't even imagine." The team spread out, scanning the area. Mara moved toward a partially uncovered structure that rose from the ice. Its shape was vaguely humanoid, almost like a fortress, with curved walls and sharp angles. But the details were strange: ornate carvings, massive doors, and strange symbols that seemed to glow faintly. Ingrid crouched beside one of the symbols. It was a pattern of interlocking shapes, like nothing she had seen before. They look ceremonial," she said softly. "Like they're meant to honor something or someone." "Or warn," Mara added. "I've read reports about alien civilizations that built traps into their structures to protect what they valued." Ingrid frowned. The idea was unsettling. Humans were explorers, yes, but this felt like walking into a warning sign that had waited centuries to be discovered. Hours passed as the team excavated more of the structure. They uncovered massive stone slabs, each etched with scenes that seemed to depict war, hunting, and strange rituals. The images reminded Ingrid of ancient Viking tapestries she had studied as a child on Earth, only these were far larger, more detailed, and undeniably alien. These scenes," one of the scientists whispered, "they show massacres, entire armies wiped out. And these creatures, they aren't human, but their armor, their weapons, they look similar to old Earth records of Vikings." Ingrid's heart skipped a beat. "You mean the legends of Vikings? Could they have been inspired by alien visitors?" The team exchanged uneasy glances. The idea was frightening. If these beings had visited Earth in the distant past, the implications for human history were enormous. But Ingrid had no time to dwell on that. One of the junior engineers, a young man named Taro, called out from the edge of the dig. "Captain, you need to see this." She hurried over. Taro was pointing at a massive door, half buried in ice. The door was covered in more carvings, depicting warriors standing over defeated foes, their expressions fierce and victorious. Some of the defeated creatures looked almost human, while others were completely alien. "This," Ingrid said, her voice low, "this is a battlefield. And it's huge." Mara stepped closer. "Captain, the door isn't just decorative. Sensors indicate it's a solid barrier, but there's a faint energy reading behind it. Something is inside." Ingrid felt a chill run down her spine. For centuries, humans had studied the stars, wondered about alien life, and dreamed of discovery. But now, standing before this door, she realized how little they truly knew. Whatever lay beyond could be a tomb or a weapon. That night, the crew camped near the dig site. Fires were banned for safety, so they relied on energy lamps that cast long shadows across the icy plains. Ingrid stood alone, staring at the massive door through the lamplight. "I've seen war, famine, and chaos on human colonies," she said quietly to herself. "But this feels different. These beings weren't just fighting to survive. They were fighting to dominate, to erase, to conquer." A sudden thought struck her. And if their technology survived, could it still be dangerous? Mara approached, placing a hand on Ingrid's shoulder. "We'll take every precaution, Captain. We're trained for the unexpected. Humanity is resilient. We adapt. We survive." Ingrid nodded, but unease lingered. Humanity had always overcome challenges, yes, but nothing in her experience matched what they might face here. As the crew slept, the ice around the door began to shimmer faintly. A low hum filled the air, almost imperceptible at first. Ingrid, awake in her quarters, felt it even through the reinforced walls. It was as if the structure itself was alive, aware of their presence. Her mind raced. Could the stories from the carvings, these massacres of ancient alien civilizations, be warnings meant for anyone who dared disturb them? The next morning, the team returned to the dig site, determined to unlock the door. Using plasma cutters and excavation tools, they chipped away the ice and rock, slowly revealing the full size of the entrance. It towered over them, larger than any building they had seen. Carvings covered every inch: warriors, monsters, battles, and strange rituals that hinted at strategies and techniques unknown to human history. "Look at this," Mara said, tracing a pattern on the metal surface. "These symbols, they're repeating." Like instructions, not just decoration. Ingrid's eyes widened. Instructions for what? Battle formations, perhaps, or rituals of war. These creatures, they weren't just killing for survival. They were teaching it, recording it. The thought made Ingrid shiver. Humans prided themselves on ingenuity, on courage, on resilience. But here, in front of them, were beings who had mastered the art of war in ways humanity had never imagined. Yet she felt something stir deep inside her, a spark of pride, of determination. Humanity had faced impossible odds before and always found a way. These carvings, these massacres, these alien legacies, they weren't just warnings. They were lessons, waiting for someone to learn from them. Ingrid turned to her team. "Prepare the scanning drones. I want every inch recorded, every pattern, every carving, every detail. We're not just exploring history, we're learning from it. Humanity has survived countless wars, catastrophes, and threats. We adapt. We endure. And now we'll show that we can match even the deadliest lessons left behind by these aliens." The drones buzzed to life, floating silently before the massive door. Holographic projections filled the air, capturing the carvings in three-dimensional detail. The hum grew louder, vibrating through the ice, as if the structure was acknowledging them. Ingrid watched, her heart pounding. She knew this was only the beginning. The planet, the ruins, the massacres recorded in stone and metal, they held secrets that could change humanity's understanding of the universe. And if humans were clever, brave, and united, they could turn this discovery into something more than knowledge. They could turn it into power, strength, and a reason to be proud of their species. As the sun rose higher over Niflheim Prime, casting long shadows over the frozen valley, Ingrid felt a mixture of fear and exhilaration. The Deadliest Massacres history classes never taught would now be studied, understood, and respected. And perhaps humanity would learn something from them, something that could make them stronger than ever before. The air was thin and biting on Niflheim Prime as the sun sank behind the jagged ice cliffs. The wind carried tiny particles of ice that stung any exposed skin. Captain Ingrid Vahl and her crew had spent the entire day recording the carvings and scanning the alien structure. The massive door, still half buried in ice, seemed almost alive in its silence. "Captain," said Lieutenant Mara Rin, her voice tense, "I'm getting strange readings from inside the structure. Energy fluctuations, they're growing stronger." Ingrid frowned. "Stronger? Could it be a natural reaction to our scanning equipment?" Mara shook her head. "No. It's too precise. The readings are like pulses, almost like a heartbeat." Ingrid swallowed hard. Humanity had faced countless dangers in space, meteor storms, rogue planets, hostile alien creatures, but this felt different. This was not a natural phenomenon. Whatever was inside that structure, it was reacting to their presence. She turned to the crew. "Double the perimeter. I don't want anyone wandering off. Keep the drones active, and keep scanning. We need to know what we're dealing with before we touch that door." The crew worked efficiently, placing sensors in strategic locations. Taro, the young engineer, ran simulations on the energy readings. "Captain, these pulses aren't random. They follow a pattern like signals or communication. And there's more. There's a sudden spike every 30 minutes. Ingrid nodded. "Good work, Taro. That might be our first clue to understanding what's inside." Hours passed as the crew continued their work. The ice valley grew colder as darkness settled over the planet. The faint glow of the alien carving seemed brighter in the dim light, casting shadows that danced across the frozen surface. Suddenly, one of the scanning drones emitted a warning beep. "Captain, motion detected inside the structure." Ingrid's heart skipped a beat. She moved quickly to the drone's console. "Show me." The drone's feed revealed movement. At first it was subtle shifts in shadow, slight vibrations in the walls, but soon the shapes became clearer. Figures humanoid in shape but larger than humans, with armor and weapons unlike anything the crew had ever seen, were moving inside. Their motions were deliberate, controlled, and terrifyingly precise. "They're alive," Mara whispered, "or controlled by something alive." Ingrid's mind raced. "Not just alive, intelligent, and they're aware of us." The situation escalated quickly. Without warning, the massive door began to shift. Ice cracked and fell away as it slowly opened, revealing a dark interior. A chill unlike any natural cold rushed out, and the crew instinctively drew back. From the darkness emerged figures tall and imposing. Their armor gleamed faintly in the dim light, and their eyes, or what appeared to be eyes, glowed with an eerie intelligence. Each step they took seemed perfectly measured, echoing like drums across the icy valley. "Stay calm," Ingrid commanded, though her voice wavered slightly. "Do not engage unless necessary. Observe and report everything." The aliens, as the crew now realized them to be, did not speak. Yet their presence conveyed a clear message. This was their territory. They had been waiting, perhaps for centuries, and humans had just entered their domain. Taro, scanning rapidly, reported, "Captain, their technology is unlike anything we've seen. Shields, energy weapons, and look at this. The structure itself seems connected to them. They move with it, almost as if it's an extension of their bodies." Ingrid swallowed hard. Humanity had always believed in exploration, in curiosity, in reaching beyond the stars. But standing face to face with beings who had mastered both war and technology at a level far beyond human understanding was humbling. The first night was tense. The alien figures did not attack immediately. Instead, they stood just inside the doorway, observing, silent but unmistakably aware. Humans had always adapted, always survived, but now they realized that observation alone could be lethal. Ingrid gathered the crew in their temporary shelter. "We have two options," she said quietly. "We can retreat and report this to the council, or we can study them carefully and look for weaknesses. Retreat would be safe, but it means leaving knowledge behind." "Knowledge that could make humanity stronger," Mara nodded. "And if we stay, Captain, we risk our lives." Ingrid's gaze hardened. "Mara, humanity has never faced danger and turned away. We adapt, we survive, and we learn. This is no different, but we proceed with caution. We do not provoke them, not yet." The crew settled in for the night, their thoughts heavy with worry. Yet even in fear, a spark of determination burned. Humanity had survived nuclear wars, plagues, and hostile alien encounters in far-off systems. They had endured because they were clever, resilient, and relentless. Morning brought a new challenge. The aliens did not retreat. Instead, they emerged in greater numbers, scanning the valley and sending pulses of energy into the ice. The sensors picked up rapid structural shifts. The walls of the alien building seemed to respond to the newcomers, creating barriers, traps, and defensive formations. "This is incredible," Taro muttered. "They've designed the structure to act as both fortress and weapon. And we're inside its influence." Ingrid clenched her jaw. "Then we adapt. Humanity is not weak. Observe patterns, identify weaknesses, and exploit them. That's how we survive." The crew began to map the alien movements, noting every gesture, every energy pulse, every shift in the structure. They discovered that the beings followed strict routines, repeating certain movements, patterns, and formations. It was almost like studying a deadly game, one in which humans were pieces on the board. Mara studied the drone's recordings. "Captain, their formations are tactical. They're teaching themselves, improving their responses, but they're predictable if you watch carefully." Ingrid's eyes brightened. "Then we learn faster. Humanity may not be stronger physically, but our mind adapts. Observation, creativity, improvisation, this is our weapon." Days passed. The humans remained on the frozen valley, studying the alien forces, learning their rhythms, and preparing for whatever might come next. The air grew tense with anticipation. The creatures did not attack directly but maintained a constant pressure, reminding the humans that they were being watched, tested. Ingrid found herself walking among the carvings each day, thinking about the ancient massacres recorded there. The aliens outside mirrored the lessons depicted in the stone: strategy, precision, efficiency. Humanity had faced violence before, yes, but these creatures approached war as an art. And yet, Ingrid felt a surge of pride. Humans had survived catastrophes that should have ended them. They had adapted to environments that should have killed them. And now, faced with the deadliest legacy of an alien civilization, they would adapt again. "We study, we learn, we survive," Ingrid reminded her crew. "And when the time comes, we show them that humans are not so easily defeated." Then, late one evening, the first attack came. It was swift, calculated, and terrifying. The aliens surged from the structure, their energy weapons cutting through the ice with precision. The humans dodged, retreated, and fired back using defensive shields and portable weapons. Despite being outnumbered and outgunned, the crew's training, strategy, and courage kept them alive. Taro shouted over the noise, "Captain, they're testing us, probing for weaknesses." Ingrid nodded grimly. "Then we give them nothing. Watch their patterns, predict their moves, and strike only when it counts. Humanity survives by thinking faster than the enemy." The skirmish lasted hours. Humans were pushed to their limits, but each time they learned something new: how the alien shields operated, how the energy pulses could be disrupted, how formations could be broken. By the time the first attack ended, they had not won, but they had survived and learned. Ingrid looked at her exhausted crew. "This is only the beginning. We are not weak. We are human, and that is our strength." The frozen valley was quiet once more, but the hum of the alien structure lingered, a constant reminder of the danger ahead. The humans had faced the first real challenge, and they had endured. Ingrid knew that the lessons carved into stone, the massacres of an ancient civilization, and the alien forces before them all pointed to one truth: knowledge and adaptation were the keys to survival. Humanity had survived wars, plagues, and disasters across countless worlds. And now, on Niflheim Prime, they would survive again, by learning, by observing, and by proving that no alien force, no matter how powerful, could underestimate human ingenuity. As the sun rose over the icy cliffs once more, Ingrid felt a mixture of dread and determination. The deadliest lessons of history, recorded in the scars of alien civilizations, were no longer just stories. They were challenges, waiting to be met by humanity's courage, resilience, and relentless drive to endure. The frozen valley was eerily quiet after the first attack. Ice crystals glittered under the weak sunlight, reflecting off the massive alien structure that loomed like a sentinel over the humans' small camp. Captain Ingrid Vahl stood at the edge of the ice, staring at the doorway. Her breath formed small clouds in the frigid air. They had survived the initial assault, but the cost was high. Equipment had been damaged, some drones destroyed, and crew members bruised or shaken. Yet, despite the fear, Ingrid felt a spark of determination. Humanity had faced impossible odds before, and they had survived. They would survive here too. Mara approached, carrying a tablet filled with drone footage and energy readings. "Captain, I've analyzed the attack patterns. They're predictable in a way. They adapt slowly but rely heavily on formations. If we anticipate their moves, we can use that against them." Ingrid nodded. "Good, that's exactly what we need. Humans survive because we learn faster than the enemy. Let's prepare a counter-strategy." The crew gathered inside the temporary shelter, its walls reinforced with ice and portable barriers. Ingrid laid out a map of the valley, marking the positions of the alien forces, the structure, and the areas where humans could maneuver. "We have one advantage," she said, pointing to the map. "They rely on patterns. They fight with precision, but they are predictable in their precision. We are unpredictable. We can create confusion, lure them into traps, and use their own strength against them." Taro, the engineer, raised an eyebrow. "You mean fight fire with fire, use their technology against them?" "Yes," Ingrid said firmly. "We use what we have, but more importantly, we use our minds. Humans are clever. Humans are creative. That is our weapon. And tonight we test it." The crew prepared. Drones were loaded with sensors and decoys. Portable shields were reinforced, and energy disruptors were calibrated. Each member of the team knew their role. Every movement, every decision could mean life or death. As darkness fell over the icy cliffs, the aliens appeared again. Their glowing eyes scanned the valley, searching for any sign of human activity. But this time, the humans were ready. Small drones zipped across the ice, emitting false energy signatures. The aliens reacted immediately, adjusting their formations to counter the perceived threat. Ingrid held her breath as the patterns unfolded. "They're following the decoys," she whispered. "Good, now we move." Humans advanced carefully, using the ice ridges as cover. They struck quickly, targeting energy nodes and weak points in the alien formations. The creatures were powerful, but their predictability made them vulnerable. Each human move was calculated, each strike purposeful. For the first time, the aliens hesitated. The humans had learned their rhythm, and they were exploiting it. Hours passed in a tense, dangerous dance. Energy pulses lit the night as humans and aliens clashed across the icy plains. The humans' ingenuity, setting traps, using decoys, and disrupting energy flows, gave them the upper hand in key moments. Mara shouted, "Captain, they're shield generators, they're linked. If we disable one, the rest weaken." Ingrid's mind raced. "Then that's our target." "Taro, coordinate the drones. Take down the first generator. Everyone else cover the flanks. This is our chance." The drones swooped in, drawing enemy attention while Taro manipulated the energy disruptors. A massive pulse ran through the valley, striking the alien shield generator. Sparks flew, and the protective energy field flickered and died. The aliens roared, or what humans assumed was a roar, and charged. But now they were vulnerable. The humans pushed forward with precision strikes, forcing the creatures to retreat back into the structure. For the first time, the humans felt a taste of victory. It was small, temporary, but it was real. In the quiet that followed, Ingrid surveyed her crew. Exhaustion and relief were written on their faces. "We survived," she said softly. "But this is only the beginning. We've learned something crucial. The aliens are powerful, yes, but they are not infallible. They adapt slowly. We adapt faster. That is our strength." Mara added, "And we know their weaknesses now. If we continue observing, studying, and learning, we can do more than survive. We can control the battle." Ingrid nodded. "Exactly. Humanity doesn't just survive challenges. We turn them into opportunities. Every time we've faced extinction, we've come back stronger. This is no different. We will learn, adapt, and prevail." The next day, the humans moved closer to the alien structure. Using their knowledge of the energy patterns and combat formations, they advanced cautiously, scanning for traps and potential dangers. The structure itself seemed aware, responding to their presence with shifting walls and barriers, but the humans anticipated the movements, navigating carefully. Inside, the alien environment was both awe-inspiring and terrifying. Massive halls stretched for hundreds of meters, lined with carvings and alien technology. Energy conduits pulsed with light, and strange machinery hummed with power. The humans realized that the structure itself was a weapon, defensive, offensive, and intelligent. "This is incredible," Taro whispered. "They built an entire fortress that responds to intruders, and it's alive somehow." Ingrid studied the carvings along the walls. Scenes of ancient battles, massacres, and tactical maneuvers covered every inch. "These carvings, they are more than history, they are lessons, and we are learning faster than they expected." As the humans pressed deeper, the aliens launched sporadic attacks. Each encounter tested the humans' patience, creativity, and skill. They learned to anticipate energy pulses, to avoid traps, and to use the structure's own mechanisms against their foes. Ingrid felt a sense of awe mixed with pride. Humanity had faced impossible odds before, but now they were proving something extraordinary. That intelligence, courage, and adaptability could match even the deadliest legacy of an alien civilization. At one point, a group of aliens attempted to flank the humans through a narrow passage, but the humans had anticipated the move. Using sensors, drones, and coordinated positioning, they trapped the aliens, forcing a retreat. Mara grinned. "They didn't expect humans to think like this. We're turning the tide." Ingrid smiled, but her mind remained focused. "Yes, Mara, but we cannot become overconfident. Every success teaches them too. We must remain unpredictable, clever, and united." Night fell again, and the humans set up a temporary camp inside the structure. The alien environment was strange, almost surreal, with glowing panels, energy conduits, and massive halls stretching endlessly. Yet, even in this alien world, humans adapted. They fortified their position, maintained vigilance, and continued studying the carvings. Taro examined a series of panels that seemed to depict strategies for large-scale battles. "Captain, these aliens were not just warriors. They were teachers. They recorded their tactics, their massacres, their victories, and they expected others to learn from them." Ingrid nodded. "And we are learning, not to glorify violence, but to understand strategy, precision, and resilience. Humanity has always survived by thinking, adapting, and uniting. That is what makes us strong." The humans settled in for the night, aware that further attacks would come. Yet, even in the face of uncertainty, they felt a quiet confidence. They had survived, adapted, and begun to turn the tide against an enemy that seemed unbeatable. The next morning, the structure itself began to shift more aggressively, sending barriers and traps toward the humans. But now, the humans anticipated each movement. They used the environment, energy disruptors, and careful coordination to counter every trap. Ingrid led the crew in a precise maneuver through the shifting halls. Every step, every movement was calculated. They pushed forward deeper into the structure, learning more about the aliens, their technology, and their weaknesses. "This is our chance," Ingrid said quietly. "We've survived the first wave. We've learned their patterns. Now we can fight smarter, strike harder, and take control. Humanity adapts, humanity endures, humanity prevails." The crew nodded, tired but resolute. Each human being present understood the stakes. They were facing an enemy designed to be lethal, yet they had already turned the odds slightly in their favor. And for the first time, they felt something profound: the power of human ingenuity, resilience, and courage. The air inside the alien structure was tense. The glowing energy conduits pulsed in rhythm with the massive doors that had long loomed over the humans' temporary camp. Captain Ingrid Vahl moved cautiously, her boots crunching against the icy floors. The crew followed close behind, scanning every corner with their sensors, drones hovering just above their heads. "This place, it's bigger than we imagined," Taro whispered. "Every hallway feels alive, like it's thinking." Ingrid nodded. "That's why we move slowly. One wrong step and the structure itself could turn against us. But humanity survives by thinking, adapting, and acting carefully. We will learn faster than it can react." Mara examined the carvings along the walls. They depicted ancient battles and horrific massacres, but now, after weeks of observation, the crew could see the patterns. The aliens were not merely warriors, they were teachers of strategy and precision. Ingrid's mind raced. If we understand their lessons, if we anticipate their moves, we can finally end this. The first challenge came sooner than expected. From a corridor ahead, the alien forces emerged in force. Their glowing eyes fixed on the humans, and their movements were faster and more precise than ever before. But the humans were ready. "Use the traps," Ingrid shouted. "Set up decoys, lure them into the energy nodes, and strike when they're distracted." Drones zipped across the hallways, creating false energy signatures. The aliens reacted instinctively, rushing toward the decoys. Human teams attacked from multiple directions, disrupting the alien formations with well-coordinated strikes. It was chaos, but it was controlled chaos. Every movement was calculated, every attack planned. Humanity had learned from the massacres, from the alien patterns, and from their own past failures. They were turning the tide. Hours passed as humans and aliens clashed. Energy pulses lit the structure, casting long shadows across the carvings of ancient wars. The humans realized that the structure itself was part of the fight. Walls shifted, floors moved, and energy barriers activated to protect the aliens. Ingrid paused to give orders. "Focus on the nodes controlling the structure. Taro, Mara, coordinate the drones to overload the energy circuits. Everyone else hold them back." The plan worked. Energy nodes began to fail, weakening the aliens' shields and slowing their movements. For the first time, the humans felt hope. They had turned the aliens' own design against them. "Captain," Taro shouted, "I've found something. A control chamber at the heart of the structure. If we take it, we can disable the entire defense system." Ingrid's eyes narrowed. "Then that's our goal. Move carefully, one step at a time. Humanity survives because we are clever. Now we prove we are stronger than even the deadliest alien strategy." The team advanced through narrow corridors, avoiding traps and attacking small alien patrols along the way. Each step brought them closer to the control chamber, but also deeper into danger. Mara noticed something strange. "Captain, the carvings, they're changing. Or maybe we're seeing patterns we didn't notice before. The aliens, they're trying to teach us even now. Ingrid studied the walls, tracing the lines of the battles etched into metal and stone. They expect us to learn, and we are learning. Every move they make is predictable if we watch carefully. Humanity survives because we think, adapt, and act. By mid-afternoon, they reached the control chamber. It was massive, with a high ceiling and walls covered in glowing panels. Energy flowed through conduits like rivers of light, and at the center was a console, clearly the heart of the alien structure. Taro approached cautiously. "Captain, this is it. If we override the systems here, the defenses will collapse." Ingrid nodded. "Do it. Humanity has survived every challenge it has faced. Now we finish what we started." As Taro worked on the console, the alien forces realized what was happening. They surged toward the humans, faster and more aggressively than ever. Energy pulses cut across the floor, walls shifted into new formations, and the structure itself became an active opponent. "Hold them off," Ingrid shouted. "We've survived this long, we can survive now." Humans moved with precision, setting traps, using energy disruptors, and coordinating with drones. Each strike, each maneuver was learned from previous encounters. The aliens were powerful, but the humans' creativity and unpredictability gave them an advantage. Finally, with a surge of energy, Taro completed the override. The control chamber hummed and the alien defenses collapsed. Walls stopped shifting, energy pulses ceased, and the remaining aliens froze, confused and disoriented. Ingrid took a deep breath. "We did it. Humanity survives." The aftermath was quiet but awe-inspiring. The aliens retreated deeper into the structure, no longer able to maintain control. The humans moved cautiously, exploring the halls and recording every detail. The carvings, the energy nodes, the battle lessons, they were all preserved in their memory and their drones. Mara smiled. "Captain, we turned their own system against them. We adapted faster, learned faster, and survived." Ingrid nodded. "Yes, Mara. And this is what makes humanity strong. We endure, we think, we adapt, and we never give up. That is why we are unstoppable." The crew spent the next several days exploring the alien structure. They discovered archives, battle records, and more carvings, each one teaching new lessons about strategy, resilience, and survival. Humanity had not only survived, but had learned from the deadliest massacres of an alien civilization. Ingrid stood at the top of a high platform, looking out over the frozen valley. The alien structure stretched behind them, silent and powerless. Humanity had faced an enemy more advanced, more lethal, and more relentless than almost anything in recorded history. Yet they had prevailed. "We record this," Ingrid said, "not to glorify violence but to remember the lessons. Humanity survives by learning, by adapting, by uniting. We endure because we are clever, strong, and brave." Taro added, "Captain, the archives, they contain technology we can use safely. If studied carefully, it can advance human knowledge by centuries." Ingrid smiled. "Exactly, but the most important lesson is not the technology, it is the human spirit. We survive because we never give up, we adapt, we endure, and when faced with the deadliest challenges, we rise." As the crew prepared to leave Niflheim Prime, Ingrid looked back at the alien structure one last time. It was a monument to a civilization that had mastered war, strategy, and control. Yet, it also became a monument to human ingenuity, courage, and perseverance. "The galaxy will remember this," she said softly. "Not because we defeated them easily, but because humanity never backs down. We learn, we adapt, and we prevail. That is what makes us strong. That is HFY." The shuttle lifted off, leaving the frozen valley behind. Humanity had survived the deadliest alien challenge they had ever faced, learned from it, and grown stronger in the process. And across the stars, the story of human resilience would echo forever. Clever, brave, and unstoppable.